Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world, and welcome to Division 2 of North America EU in Rush Racing. I am your host, GameHawk, here with Division 2 alongside my co-host, Wildcat. And we're getting ready for, first off, the sprint race, which we will start with a sprint race. It will be reverse grid order, and then we will go to the main feature race. We did just finish up with Division 1 about a half hour ago. We're getting ready here to start Division 2 soon. Division 1 was insane, to say the least, and I guess just like Canada, if you guys get the chance, I would highly recommend going to the Rush Racing YouTube or here on Twitch and go back and watch the VOD. But an absolutely insanely crazy race with everything that happened. And I mean, I mean, Wildcat, you experienced it, but I mean, man, yeah, Division 1 was just an absolutely crazy race.
Crazy doesn't Division 1 was crazy understatement. It was pure chaos. Like, you had people trying to pull, in a sense, we had people trying to pull hero situations win the, as we saw both races. It didn't work out. Like, I don't contemplate the idea of that, but it's going to be interesting to see how busy the series are after the races. But, I mean, as we as a bit more tame, and they tend to show a lot more restraint and patience, and they for what we've seen so far, gotten on. So I'm looking forward to a closer, race here on.
Yeah, I am curious to see how Division 2 is going to fare versus Division 1. I will say, just so you know, Wildcat, you are cutting in and out of Discord. It may be a Discord or, like, I don't know, it might be a Discord issue or something, but I just want to let you know that you were cutting in and out. But yeah, I think that Division 2 on average has been a cleaner division than Division 1. But Division 1 has definitely been somewhat faster and has, like you said, been a lot more aggressive. It's just kind of like it's a give and take that being more aggressive and being quicker has a trade-off of being more reckless, and then maybe being a little bit more cautious and safer will probably get you to the end of the race. As now we will go ahead and start the sprint race in 5 lights time, and we are underway as John DT and Suspension will lead us down the grid. John DT will get a good launch as now they're side by side. They try to avoid, as now going sideways, trying to hold on, and now there's contact, and we have an Aston Martin around. John DT is into the wall as well. There's multiple cars that are all into the wall, and we have a lot of cars that are missing their front wings, and already turn 2 has claimed a lot of cars, but it looks like a couple more survived, and now more contact behind as Bookie was trying to avoid or he clipped the wall, and now there's more contact. More drivers are just running into each other. It looks like just Baku is maybe just a chaotic race no matter what the division.
Absolutely, and I mean, Baku, it's quite interesting. It's a track that can be very deceptive with a few long straightaways, and then you've got a few technical sections, especially through Sector 2 in the castle area. So, I mean, drivers are going to be maximizing the straight line speed, but you've also got to have the grip mechanically through the suspension to be able to actually make these slower speed corners. But Baku is a notorious track for being a serial killer of rear tires. So a lot of it's gonna come down to who's been able to actually set up the car to minimize that rear tire drag as much as possible. And honestly, I'm suspecting that the winner of the sprint, and or more so the feature race, is going to be that person who's managed to actually set up their car in such a way that their tire deg is very as minimal as possible.
Yeah, and I think that we really saw that in Division 1, for example, just because we saw how good the hard tires were versus the mediums, and the mediums just wore out so quickly that you could really tell the difference but in like the tire degradation, because the hards reign supreme over the medium compound. And for a sprint race, it doesn't matter quite as much. I am curious. You can see that a bunch of drivers did end up pitting. I believe that those were the ones who had the most damage to their cars in terms of like the front wing. So they will fall to the back of the grid. And right now, Bruiser in the Racing Bull has a very comfortable lead. He's 4 seconds ahead of Suspension, but Wilco in the Ferrari, I believe that is a new name that we have not seen in Division 2. He is now catching up to Suspension. Suspension having a little bit of a tap on the wall. So we'll see, as now Wilco is chasing down Suspension. Tinzo behind him as well. Harold actually moving up quite a bit of places. Actually looking at the position gain, Harold has actually gained the most positions, being 8 total positions gained. Bruiser gained 6 as he's currently in the lead. And I mean, yeah, I mean, other than the 5-second gap between the leader and second place, so far this, you'd say the main pack is actually pretty close together.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, these guys are, again, they're keeping it fairly clean. I mean, they might have a little bit of wheel banging here and there, but ooh, kind of tight there to turn one just a little bit. But I'm looking at some of these tire choices here, as Wilco went a little bit long into turn 2 and had to take the runoff to avoid any unnecessary front end damage. So good one on him to be able to keep that thing going and keeping it out of the wall. But he is missing the right side end plate, so I'm not sure how he's going to be able to deal with that bit of damage. That may hurt him later on as these tires begin to wear, as he is on the medium tire. So it's kind of curious that some of these guys, they took to the hard tire to start, and probably a strategic move, as the medium, in experiences from Div 1, the medium tire tends to fall away after about 6 to 7 laps. It starts falling off and almost off a cliff, honestly. So maybe they're looking for that late sprint race push to be able to actually make some moves near the end.
Yeah, and I do think that we can see a couple of late moves. And I mean, just with the unpredictability of Baku, I mean, who knows what's really going to happen as Suspension continues to fall down the grid. As I believe the Governor is now looking to make a move. The Governor does still have a damaged front wing, but it looks like it hasn't really affected him much, as he's still doing his best to keep pace with the other people. Now, actually, Harold will pass Tinzo, and it will go up into P2. He's still 7 seconds behind Bruiser, and Bruiser is on that medium compound. I'm curious to see how much pace this group from P2 to P5 is going to make on Bruiser. I'm curious to see if they're going to be able to make up more ground, but I don't know. Nishko actually will come in with the fastest lap so far here in this sprint, but so far Bruiser has a very comfortable lead.
Well, I mean, so far, I mean, things are looking it's looking a little bit like it's already settled down, honestly, and I'm a bit surprised. But again, it's a nod to Division 2. These guys, they tend to simmer down and just kind of fall in line, and let their intentions be shown and they're driving on track. But they're also a very patient bunch as well. As we see, looking at the Governor, it doesn't appear that front wing damage has hindered him too bad. So, he's just going right along with it. So, as he's actually opening the gap for Suspension as well. So, he's looking to try and, score some solid points here for Red Bull, as we do know they're actually in second place, not by much, in the constructors fight for Division 2. So, they're looking to actually do some damage here. If Nitsa can manage to close that gap, which he is to Dr. J, he's looking to try and claw his way up into the points if he can.
Yeah, and that is, I mean, ultimately, you want to do everything that you can to get as many points. Actually, we do have a caution. I believe it was, it's the Alpine of Racer who will fall down the grid once again down to P11. So, I mean, I was pulling up the, not only the Drivers' Championship, but also the Constructors' Championship. And it is a very tight fight between Red Bull and Aston Martin. But you can't discount McLaren either. McLaren, I mean, they both have right now, they have 2 retirements. I don't know if I believe they retired in the pits. Yeah, they both retired in the pits, so that's the end of their race. But you can't discount McLaren, and McLaren right now has 2 cars in top 5 in P3 and P4. So, I mean, even if it's a sprint race, you still want to claim as many points as you physically can. And, I mean, the sprint race really does set up the feature race in terms of points as well. So I mean, if you could score high in the sprint race and then you score high in the feature race, that can really be a significant boost, basically. Like, I mean, if one of these drivers, I mean, for example, if Bruiser right now in the championship has 36 points, if he wins the sprint and he wins the feature race, I mean, that's easy. Like, that's already over 30 points plus, like 30 plus points that he can gain in the championship.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, I'm looking at the current point standings here, and the gap between Aston Martin, who is currently leading the constructors, is only 10 points ahead of Red Bull, followed by McLaren, who in the McLaren pair right now, they're making a statement, sticking relatively close to each other. They're not fighting each other. So, I mean, they're one of the stronger team pairings in Div2. And, I mean, right now we're looking at Aston Martin at 112 with Red Bull at 102 and McLaren at 85. So, I mean, this constructor fight is far from over, but you can't also count out the fact that you got Bruiser in the lead currently, and the Racing Bulls are currently at 84 points, so they're not completely out of this constructor fight either. So every point is, honestly, it counts towards the championship at the end. So in Division 2, it's a lot more wide open and not so, decided almost to a point as Division 1 has kind of almost become.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a wide open, I mean arguably even Division 1 is arguably wide open because we've had so many different winners, so many different winners that have earned points, and so far we are just about to start lap 7 out of 9 here on the sprint race. And I mean, I was curious to see what kind of pace we saw from the hards. Looks like it's not really mattering. That Harold, who is in P2, is still remaining 7 seconds behind Bruiser. So barring anything crazy, it looks like Bruiser has a good chance of winning the sprint race outright, and that's really going to benefit him getting those extra, I believe, 8 points for winning the sprint race.
Absolutely, and I'm kind of looking a little bit farther down the grid here. We got a tight fight for P6 right now with Dr. J, Nishka, and Suspension. And Nishka, who was just recently in 11th, but I guess due to the retirements and a couple other things, he's actually caught up, and he's already worked his way into the points and is lining up Dr. J for an overtake as he does get through going into turn 3. So these guys Nishka's not messing around. Sorry, he's 17 seconds back from his teammate, but a Red Bull 5 and 6 in the sprint race is going to actually help them pretty good in the points, closing up to Aston Martin. As we can see, they've only got Harold who actually walked away with points from this, epic finishes as is, as Gianni's down in P12 right now.
Yeah, currently just waiting to see. The governor is now up into P5. So actually, we're talking about the constructors. Both Red Bulls up into P5 and P6. There is a caution, and yeah, it's Dr. J as he's trying to back out of the castle section, and it looks like he will, and he's gonna get going once again. But yeah, then I mean, even if it's P5 and P6, you don't earn as many points in the sprint race, but every little point that you can gain absolutely can help. And I mean, you never really know what can happen. And I mean, I think that Canada really taught really taught us that the race, really, you can't really say that the race is over until the leader crosses the line, because I mean, anything can happen in between turn 1 and then turn 15 or whatever track we're on. So I mean, you want to just absolutely put your car and put your driver in the best possible position. And I think so far that's what McLaren and Red Bull have done. I mean, both of those teams have all of their drivers in the top 5 or so.
Absolutely, and as you were talking, Barry has now actually closed that gap and is within DRS of Harold, who is actually also closed the gap by a second to Bruiser. So those medium tires, I guess, are actually finally starting to kind of fall off a bit, and where the hard tires are coming into their own. But Barry's looking to be a major problem here for Harold if he can make something happen. But he does have a bit of front wing damage as he's missing an end plate on the right. So it's going to be kind of interesting to see if he can really make something happen here.
Yeah, we will see. And Barry doesn't really have much battery to speak of. I mean, Harold doesn't either. But despite having DRS, if you don't really have any battery, you can't really do anything. And I mean, you are right, Harold is slowly closing the gap, but I just don't think it's going to be enough, as it is the last lap now of the sprint. And I mean, looking up and down the grid, I think Barry and Harold are the closest gap on the entire field. I think everyone else is more than, or what, we do have Howell catching up to Suspension, but I mean, so far this grid has been pretty spaced out for the most part.
Absolutely, but one thing I've kind of been taking note of, that Nick has actually closed that gap by about a second and a half to his teammate, the Governor, whereas the Governor's on the hard tire, Niska's on the medium tire. So you kind of got to think they may have actually kind of developed a team strategy of, hey, you kind of test the limit of the hard, I'm going to test the limit of the medium. Let's see what tire is going to work best, and then kind of make a strategy for the feature race off of that. As Niska is actually now under 16 seconds away from the Governor on 7-lap-old medium tires. So you got to kind of wonder, is his setup really that kind on his tires based on his driving style as well? Because if he can take those mediums quite a ways, it could actually open up something as we've seen from time to time in a possible one-stop, where we know Baku, because of how notorious murderous it can be to the rear tires, could it open up a one-stop strategy for Michigan to be able to magic here again?
And while talking about magic, Bruiser will use some of that Racing Bull magic and win the sprint race. Harold in P2, he will hold off Barry, then Barry will finish in P3. It's a P4 for Tenzo. The Governor will come across the line in P5, and Nishka, I went to Nishka, and it looked like he got maybe a little bit too close to the wall, but he does save it. So he will come and finish in P6. I will say, looking at the penalty, Suspension does have a 3-second penalty. So with Howell behind, Howell is going to go ahead and go around, and it looks like Howell is going to finish in, he's going to finish in P7. And Suspension will come home in P8. We're looking down the grid. It doesn't look like we see any close battles, as John DT in the Williams will come home in P9. The Racing Bull, a Bookie, will come home in P10. Dr. J will come home in P11, and then Gianni will round out the grid and come home in P12. Definitely not as crazy of a sprint race here in Division 2 as it was in Division 1. Division 1, I think it was crazy the entire time. I think Division 1 had a crazy lap one, and then it just kind of fell off, or like it just kind of fell into a routine as the sprint went on.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, this was actually a good for the start the day. Now it's going to be interesting to see guys come the feature race. So I'm kind of interested to see because, and one thing I noticed is that it's it's going to be a bit interesting to see what happens as the grid is by the game itself gets shooken up, despite the fact that we set it to start in reverse championship grid order. Because I found myself starting from P5 in the sprint to on the front row for the main race. So it's going to be interesting to see how that gets shooken up as the clouds are overhead. It
Oh,
looks like we may have some rain looming.
yes, I think that is rain probably looming. And in Division 1, I mean, in Division 1, it was already like I didn't really consider rain, but then at the very end of the race, we saw rain. So I'm really curious to see if we are going to get rain here or when it's going to happen. We do have 26 laps total to go for this race. So, I mean, rain can happen at any time. And I agree with you. I'm curious to see where the grid will be placed. We'll see where it is, and now we'll start. And it looks like it is going to be in the reverse championship order, or at least somewhat close. The 5 lights are out. John DT in suspension will lead us down the grid once again. And here we go into turn 1 once again. It looked close. It doesn't look like another contact, but there's a Ferrari in the wall. I believe that's the Ferrari of Howell into the wall. He's trying to keep it close, and it looks like he's going to be able to file back into the line. I think he's just happy to not... I think he's just happy to still be in the race and not lose his front right wheel, or front left wheel, I should say. And so far, it looks like the grid is going to file into the single file order. And actually, Tenzo is actually going to move up a place over the Ferrari of Wilco. So, surprisingly, no DNFs here through turn 1. Oh, and now there's contact! Oh! John DT loses his front wing. I apologize while I can. And now there's even more contact as there's a huge pileup and a VSC is deployed. Everyone had to break because of just a pileup going on in the castle section. And that will bring out the virtual safety car. And I think a majority of the midfield has damage to their front wings.
Absolutely, and it seems that in the carnage, Harold, Howl Spirit and Harold have both been issued stop-go penalties, which for, let's see, we've got Harold with a collision. I guess him and Howl Spirit came together, and then you've also got Barry somehow getting in that mix and was affected. And then we also see the Alpine of Racer X going ahead and retiring. And as I'm being told, the current driver of Racer X is actually his cousin who's actually filing in for him. So I guess it was just a kind of have a little bit of fun kind of a thing for him to kind of, get his feet wet. So it was a bit interesting there. But this is going to be interesting as stop-go penalties. I don't think we've ever seen stop-go penalties before.
Yeah, I don't think we have seen any stop-go penalties so far here in Russia, not that I know of. But the green flag does wave. Thankfully, a full safety car was not deployed. Tenzo currently has the lead, and he is pushing up at least now up to 2 seconds ahead of suspension, but suspension holds a 4-second gap over Barry, but the governor and Nishka both making moves. Harold is actually up into P5 because a bunch of the other drivers who had front wing damage go ahead and pit. And actually, it looks like there was another incident as Bruiser was sideways and his front wing is damaged again. So despite the sprint race, he is not having a great time here in the main race.
Absolutely. And I mean, looking at this, find the McLaren of Pinzo in the lead and almost 4 seconds out away from suspension, and his teammate Barry in P3. This McLaren duo, it's something, I guess, about Baku, or they're just finding that team, they're starting to, really connect as a team, because they're actually in the push and really challenge here and get into this championship fight. As we see the governor is actually also not that far off of Barry, so he's going to be probably wanting to catch Barry as quick as he can. And with Nishka behind Harold, and Harold still having that stop-go penalty, I'm sure Nishka's at this point, he's just kind of going to ride in the DRS and bide his time until Harold's out of his way and in the pit to serve that penalty.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see how that penalty is going to be served. We actually did see drive-through penalties in the Division 1, which I feel really bad. I'm trying to remember who. I believe that you got a drive-through penalty during the safety car, but I forget who was leading at the time. But, I mean, he was milliseconds off of timing it perfectly and getting the best launch. Instead, he got a drive-through. And those penalties, I mean, I don't think we really have to overstate it. Those really hurt. And actually, Barry is going to make it out. Suspension is out. Suspension crashes into the wall. I think he wanted to avoid Barry, but suspension will crash into the wall. That's a VSC. So no full safety car deployed yet. Barry will move up into P2 and the governor will move up into P3. So that is our second retirement of the race, and I'm actually kind of shocked that that was not a full safety car.
Oh, absolutely, and that's a bit of a shocker, and I'm pretty sure suspension's probably not going to be too happy about it. But what you were saying about the whole drive-through situation, yeah, I'm as you could imagine. I mean, who's in the same race, I was a bit fuming about the whole situation, as I was actually kind of trying to play it close to the wire with the VSC going away, and it's like I backed off. To a point, I found myself coming to a complete stop in certain areas to not overshoot the delta, and somehow it still did. But I mean, as we can see, safety cars do can change the course of a race. Sometimes you get lucky, and honestly, I felt like I was a bit lucky, as that last safety car kind of helped me close back up to the pack and be able to, bring it home in P8, as teammate had other issues and sadly had to retire from the race.
Yeah, and I think John DT just had the exact same experience, that he got his own drive-through penalty that he's actually serving right now. As actually, I will say that Nishka has now actually caught up. John DT will retire. Oh, he crashed on track. So actually now a full safety car is deployed. And I believe, yeah, he crashed on track. I thought he was serving his drive-through because it said he was in the pits, but then it said he crashed coming out of the pits. Very strange. But now we have a full safety car deployed, and I'm interested to see who is going to take this opportunity to pit. But I mean, we'll see if or how many drivers choose to take it.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, honestly, at this point in this stage of the race, if I was a driver's tire, I honestly I would just stay out. I wouldn't even bother coming in. I'd just stay out and kind of, like a driver like Mishka, who he knows Harold still has that penalty he has to serve. And given it's now a safety car, Harold now is in a precarious position where he can't serve the penalty while under a safety car. So he's going to peel into the pits and get some new rubber. But with that safety car, it also doesn't do Harold any favors as he is the current championship leader for Division Two. But it gives it lets Nishka come through. Oh, as the governor decides to go get off of those hard tires and pit for fresh mediums. So, which actually allows Nishka now to be able to close up to Tenzo. So that's going to be quite the interesting setup. I'm interested to see how this one is actually going to play out. They're doing some very interesting things here.
I do think that it may be a little bit of the team game because I think we've seen that even in Division 1 that this race is a two-stop race. I mean, regardless necessarily of damage or if someone else needs to pit again. But so far, this has been what is predicted to be a two-stop race. And I think that with both Barry and the governor on the hard tires as well as their teammates, I do think that it may be a little bit of a team game where they want to go ahead and put on the mediums, get them out of the way, and you just go as far as you can. Because, I mean, knowing it's Baku, there is a very high likelihood of another safety car. And realistically, another safety car gives you the best opportunity to pit onto that second set of hard tires anyway. So I do think that it is an interesting strategy call, I guess, kind of like in Division 1, you get to see how it plays out versus the rest of the race. But I think probably the biggest part about that was that by pitting, and even though they had to put on new mediums, they were able to get their front wings fixed and back on track. So I think that it was very beneficial to get their front wings fixed, but we'll see how it goes with the medium compound.
Oh, absolutely. And I was just kind of observing something here, and Harold had went into the pits, and he actually was able to serve his stop go penalty while in the pits under a safety. I'm sure he's actually gonna be a bit happy about that he was able to ditch that penalty, but it also allowed his teammate Gianni to be able to catch up, and now he's going to be on the back of him. So it's going to be kind of interesting to see if Gianni can just cling to the back of work a team game to kind of work both Aston Martins up the grid here, which I'm sure Nishka's going to probably be looking and thinking about that time to try and how he can possibly pull off an overcut on Harold at this point, with Harold being on fresh tires. So it's going to be kind of interesting as Harold could honestly find himself possibly in a net P2 right now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious to see how this is going to go. More than likely, the grid is still forming up, so more than likely we will restart the race going into lap 8. And I'm a little curious to see what the implications are, just because we saw in the Div 1 race, I believe that we had 3 safety cars and 1 VSC. And I could definitely say that the starts and how good or bad your starts were, it was absolutely critical and it mattered a lot for the race. I mean, Baku having such a very long and fast sector 3, when you go to restart on the safety car, that can really benefit you or can put you really at a huge disadvantage. And I'm curious to see what Tenzo will do, and I'm curious to see maybe if some of these other drivers behind him are going to be more aggressive, especially those of the drivers that put on fresher tires. I'm curious to see if I do believe that if Tenzo and Nishka can get a good launch, I do think that the race is going to be more between them, and it's going to put everyone else kind of in catch-up mode, and they're going to have to catch up to Nishka and Tenzo. If they don't get a good start, I do think that is really going to be a lot more chaos, and that's where we start to see Barry, the governor, and Harold start to get into the mix.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, that sector 3 in Baku, I mean, there's a couple of curves in it. I mean, it's more of like kinks, honestly. But for the most part, the entire sector 3 of Baku is basically straight line. So if you go too early, you could find yourself creating a slipstream for the car behind. And given pretty much everybody should be starting off the restart with a full battery, if the car behind you gets in that slipstream with a full battery, they could quite literally send one and open up the opportunity to put in a dive bomb into turn one. So I mean, if you're the smart play here would be probably go late and given wait till you see the safety car has gone in, and then even then, cars can't overtake you until the start finish. Pretty much have it in your own hands just how exactly you want to proceed with things. So it's going to be it really is going to be interesting to see what Tenzo decides to do here.
And actually, the grid has not formed up entirely. There's still a couple stragglers in the back. So maybe we'll see if the safety car will be in. We'll see at the end of sector 2. Here as they head around this turn and down this straight. We'll see if the safety car is in this lap. It is. Okay, I was gonna say it's not. But the safety car is in this lap. It will speed off. Tenzo will take control of the field. And this is the moment he kind of sped up a little bit. I don't think I was necessarily ready for that speed up. But it's going to be very curious to see. He's carrying quite a lot of speed. He's hanging almost right behind the safety car. As now the safety car is going to speed off and now into the pit. And it looks like Tenzo, yeah, he's just going to go ahead and go. The Tenzo just said, forget about you guys. I'm just going to go ahead and go. No games. Green flag is in the air once again. But Nishka, he was not fooled by Tenzo at all, and he is right on his tail, and it looks like a lot of the grid is right behind as well. It looked like not a lot of the grid was necessarily fooled or anything. They just said, all right, we see him going, we'll go too. And you can see just how close the grid is. And actually, I think Barry is side by side with Dilby. He thought about it, but he thought better, and he pulled back out of the way. Then he retains fourth position, but so far, no incidents that we can see. And so far we didn't really see anything huge.
Absolutely, and I mean, like we were saying off the safety car restarts. I mean, you can either be left out to the dust, or they can actually hurt, or they can actually help you depending on how well you get off from it. And the governor and Harold capitalized with those fresher tires against Bookie as the governor went past Bookie first, and then Harold just kind of followed in line and followed suit with utilizing that slipstream. So I mean, a safety car restart, it can make or break depending on the track, honestly. And at this point, I mean, it looks like some of these drivers are making the most out of it, and other drivers are having a simply kind of hope there aren't any more safety cars from now to the end of the race to kind of be able to get their strategies back in line and be able to actually work their way up and try to win this race.
Yeah, and actually the one saving thing for Tenzo is I don't know if Nishka's going to be able to make a move. He's going to go side by side, and it looked like they were close. I mean, they're practically still side by side. Nishka to the inside. Are they going to make it through the corner? They will. Tenzo, just enough grip. And he's going to weave down the straight. There is a caution sector 1. I think someone overshot the turn, and green flag back in the air. I was going to say the one saving thing for Tenzo on that first lap was that there wasn't any DRS, but now that DRS is enabled, Nishka, he's really shown that he's got a lot of pace here. That I think that he's been right behind Tenzo like ever since the safety car left. But you can't discount the people behind him. I mean, Barry has now closed into less than half a second, just about half a second. Governor's just about a second behind Barry, and Harold a second behind the Governor. So this lead group of cars, they are showing a lot of pace, and they're showing I mean, they're basically almost on the same level.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, looking at it right now, this top five, they're all a punchy bunch. And I mean, you've got the McLaren split by Red Bull, followed by an Aston Martin. And you gotta kind of, Nick is wanting to get that overtake done as their safety car, as it looks like John DT found a wall coming out of sector 2, but he did manage to get it going. That, or was it Dr. J?
Or no,
Somebody found the wall, so we got another
Bookie,
safety car here.
Bookie is actually missing his entire front wing. Tenzo is actually going to go ahead and pit. I'm probably going to guess that he's going to put on the mediums, and he will. So he's going to go ahead and put the mediums on. Nishka did not pit. So we will have another safety car here, as that will save a lot of the ones that needed to pit, especially Bookie, who lost his front wing. Bruiser pit onto the softs. So I'm not entirely sure if maybe that is what he chose, and maybe he wants to go on a short stint. We did see someone else do that, but he will go onto the softs. And so far, I mean, the strategies have been consistent. Those are the people who started on the hards have been switching to the mediums. Those who have been on the mediums have switched to the hards. So, I mean, it looks like the strategies have been pretty universal across the board.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, honestly, there's a couple different ways it can work around. Still medium, or you could do a hard medium. You could do medium hard. I mean, there's a lot of different strategies here. I'm not exactly sure what Bruiser's thinking as far as putting the soft tire on, as those tires are probably only going to give him maybe about 3. He's probably only going to get about 3 to 4 good laps out of them. And then he's probably going to be finding himself running back in the pit to slap on another set of tires, because those soft tires, granted, the temps are a bit cooler, so the tire bed probably isn't as high. Those soft tires at the rear are not going to hold on very long.
Yeah, and I mean, if the mediums are falling off quick, the softs are definitely not going to last as long. And judging by the safety car, we still have a few stragglers, so I'm going to guess that we're probably going to restart going into lap 12. And I can't imagine we're going to see anyone peel into the pits at this point. And actually, one thing I wanted to call out, it is still pretty overcast and pretty cloudy, but we've not seen any rain or really any threat of rain so far.
No, we haven't, and I'm looking at the weather forecast right now, and it doesn't show that there's any sign of the wet stuff anytime soon either. So I mean, these drivers see that they kind of caught a lucky break today with just a nice cloudy day with cooler temps, which may actually be a reason why Nishka stayed out. As we saw in Canada, Nishka kind of rolled the dice with the strategy and went long with his initial strategy, and which actually set him up and kind of played into his hand a bit later in the race. So he may be looking to do the same again. As you know, the safety car, you don't wear your tires nearly as much, maybe about 25% of the normal wear at most. And with very behind on 6-lap-old medium tires, this is probably going to be looking to try and play the game of destroy Barry's tires a bit. With his teammate, the Governor, behind on the same tires, they can probably teamwork something here to kind of get Barry out of the way and let Nishka kind of get a fat gap, honestly, as Nishka's defending and the Governor's attacking. They can teamwork some magic here, but you've got to also look. Errol's sitting right behind them, waiting to capitalize on a mistake. And let's not forget, Sinzel also has already pit and has fresh medium tires on, so he's going to be looking to try and come back up when these guys start to pit. So Nishka's probably not going to want to stay out too much longer on those hard tires, as he could find himself at a major disadvantage later on after the pit stop.
Yeah, but I will say that the one thing benefiting Nishka is that I would say that his hards are 10 laps old, but I would say that 4 laps of those have been under safety car, and actually safety car is in this lap. So at least the one saving thing for Nishka is that maybe his tires are not as worn as they usually would be because of the safety car. And actually Nishka has slowed down. He's not going as fast as Tinzo is. So now it becomes a question of when Nishka is going to decide to go. You see the governor in the background making sure that his tires are warm. And you can see Barry is right on his tail, just waiting for Nishka to go as the whole grid is lined up and ready. And Nishka still hasn't gone, just still holding his position. And then you can see him put on the gas, and there he goes. Wait, I think, or no, it fooled me. The camera tricked me as he's still waiting to go. I don't know if I've ever seen him wait this long. As we wait and wait.
Absolutely. And I think at this point, Nick is playing the mind game a bit because he knows Barry's sitting right there waiting for him to get on the gas and open that slipstream a bit. So he's just kind of going to say, you know what, I'm going to make you wait, and then I'm going to take off and catch you napping. And although he didn't catch him napping, he got a good getaway, as did the governor and Harold. Pretty much everybody got a good getaway here this time. So let's see how this is going to play out now, and how much Nick is going to have to defend here.
Yeah, and there is no DRS here on this first lap, so they only have their the batteries and their tires to use. They don't have DRS to assist them in overtaking. So right now, Nishka does hold the lead. I think Barry's probably a little bit closer than what Nishka would like, but you can see that the governor and Harold are right on their tail. Harold's actually kind of opened up a bigger gap away from Tinzo, which Tinzo actually has worked his way up. He was originally in P7. It says there was a caution sector 2. Dilby has fallen down the grid. I don't see him on the camera, but now it's resolved and he is driving once again. I believe that is a glitch, but Nishka still retains the lead, but you can see how close this leading pack of cars is.
Absolutely, and just looking back at the damage on Dilby, it looks like he that left side, that front left end plate, or his front wing coming through that tight left right-hander there. He just got a little bit wide on the right-hander, kind of flapped the wall a bit, but good to see he's got it going. So, you know, he's tired, but now he's got a lot of work to do to catch up to this grid, although he is on fresh hard tires. So he's going to have to either go long and just kind of try to manage the damage and keep it going, as we see Barry and Nishka come through turn 1 side by side, and the governor kind of sticking a nose in there to help with the defense. Now Harold's getting in the mix as well.
Someone lost an end plate. I'm going through and checking. I am not sure. Oh, it was Harold. Harold lost an end plate in that little bit of a scrap, so that is definitely going to hurt Harold there. And I will say I am shocked that Nishka was able to hold on to the lead. I thought that Barry was going to pass him there going out of turn 1, but Nishka did a great job and he was able to retain the lead. We'll see if that continues. I'm curious to see when Nishka is going to pit. He hasn't even pit once in this race. He's on those hard tires that he started the race on, so no pit so far, but I'm curious to see if he's going to, as now Barry and Nishka have opened up a 1.3 second gap out of DRS range away from the governor. So now the lead has come down to Nishka and Barry, as the governor is trying to basically hold up the rest of the field.
Absolutely, and I mean, that's a bit unfortunate for Harold to be able to catch that damage, but it seems like Barry and Nishka are opening up a gap here, as they've already broken away from DRS's governor, and Harold capitalizes on that with on to. So this is going to be, and Bruiser kind of came on those tires, as I'll Spirit also and Rico now choosing soft tire option. So it's going to be kind of interesting to see how long that soft tire is going to be able to carry them. As I know the governor with safety car for a few laps. It's going to be interesting to see how long they're going to be able to keep those mediums going. But Nitschke kind of put himself in position to be able to maximize, honestly, by going at this point. He's going to be able to be absolutely rapid near the end with probably the freshest tires of anybody.
Yeah, and actually, I will say, shout out to Bruiser, who has climbed his way back up to 4th place, as we were questioning whether he like being on the softs was the right call, and he's done his best job fighting up to P4, and he's catching up to Harold as well. Barry was able to pass Nishka, and Barry is now in the lead. I think that might be the starting thought process of going to pit, but we'll see. I mean, looking down the grid, I don't think I've ever seen such a variety of not only tires, but also like tire life tire lap ages, because you have some people that have 9, 13, then you have 4, 3, 1, 4. I mean, you just have all these different lap tires. Not entirely sure when some of these drivers are gonna pit.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, it kind of comes to a point where, honestly, drivers just tend to they throw strategy out the window, honestly. And as we saw, Mitchell kind of out of the DRS Barry, but then as they came out of Sector 2, Mitchell clawed his way back into DRS. Does help him in defense against Harold. So, I mean, you kind of you gotta give credit where credit's due. Mitchell's actually driving flat out here, looking to be it's going to be a weapon and club out a second win this season. So, and he's not making it easy for Barry nor Harold.
Do you think that Nishka is attempting the one stop? Because now I'm starting to wonder that there are only 26 laps here for a 50% race, and we're on lap 15, and at this point Nishka has definitely driven the lifespan of those hards, and he is still in 2nd place. And a lot of these other drivers, especially think about Barry on the 10 lap old mediums, I'm starting to wonder if Nishka is maybe thinking about trying to pull off the one stop.
Honestly, at this point, I mean, you're coming up on lap 16, and with about 11 laps left in this race, I mean, we know the mediums, 7 laps or so, they start to kind of fall off point, but you can still manage at 10 laps on 10 lap old mediums and very. So, I mean, this may actually be looking to do that one stop. The question is he going to be able to actually keep up the pace and stay in position, as we see him lose 2 positions in the turn 1 as Harold and Bruiser go through. But again, Bruiser's on those soft tires, which is 6 laps old, so it's going to be a bit interesting to see how that hurts Bruiser later on, or if it does, as Nishka does pick up the DRS, maybe going to do to kind of stay close to these guys, as when he does dive in the pits, he doesn't lose as much time to them.
I do think, though, that I mean, with how this race has gone, I do think that the one stop actually now would benefit him, because just because of how this race has gone, he's in the prime position, because a lot of these other drivers are probably definitely thinking about stopping again. I can't imagine that Harold, Barry, or Bruiser are going to go to the end on the tires that they currently have. I can't imagine that they are. And you know that Nishka is going to pit one, so I think that he's really in a prime position where if he pits and then everyone else has to pit again, there's a very good chance that he just leapfrogs back into the lead, and he has a very good chance of winning this race.
Absolutely, and as you saw in Canada, I mean, Mr. kind of showed his strategic prowess in Canada in a major way. and kind of relying also on the help of the drivers battling the scrapping, which kind of helped open up that gap from the 3 second time penalty he occurred in Canada as he does now go into the pit. And it's going to be interesting. I'm kind of interested to see what Nick decides to do. Is he going to go on the sauce and just try to fire in some qualifying laps? He's going to go on the medium, kind of, and he is going on the medium tire. Doesn't get any front wing adjustment, so he's happy with the setup and the way it's performing. Now it's pretty much on Niska at this point to be able to pull off an absolute masterclass. As you do know, he started from P14. So it's going to be an absolute masterclass for him if it comes out of this race and with the win.
Yeah, absolute masterclass indeed. And I think now the attention shifts back to the other drivers. I mean, the other drivers now who are on the older tires, I think now you got to start to wonder, when are they going to pit? Because I can't imagine that they're going to try and go to the end. I think that Nishka would be right on the edge, maybe, of going to the end. Maybe it was a mandatory that you had to stop for mediums, but at the same time, I just don't know. I think that really we're not going to know unless we see one of these other drivers pit. And I will say that if we see a safety car, then that is really going to throw everything out, because you know for a fact that if a safety car comes out, everyone is going to pit. So, I mean, right now we're just kind of in a Formula One limbo.
Absolutely. And one thing to kind of take note, the governor missed his teammate actually went in the pits and got rid back on a set of scrub hard tires, which we know the scrub hard tire can get up to temperature rather quickly versus a fresh set, as we now see Harold, Barry, and Tenzo all in the pit getting fresh tires, as Nika will come through, and it might be a bit close on the exit as Nika does come through, and provisionally he does have the lead of the race.
Barry gets the 10-second penalty.
10-second penalty.
He crossed.
Which is not going to help him.
That is definitely not going to help him. He crossed the pit exit line before. I think what he wanted to do was that he wanted to cut ahead of Nishka, but he just cut over the line too quickly. And that 10-second penalty is really going to hurt him. And I think that, like we said, Nishka is in the best position, as now he's kind of the leader of the pack that has pitted, as now Bruiser leads on 8-lap-old soft tires. Give credit to him. I'm shocked that he's been able to take the soft tires over 8 laps, the same distance as only some of these drivers have been able to take the mediums. And then you have Gianni, who's taken it the 16-lap-old hard tires all the way to now, who I believe also has a stop as well. So now I guess we'll see when these top 3 choose to pit, but I think that Nishka and Barry are probably the 2 drivers in the best position.
Absolutely, and it looks like Hal Spirit had a bit of a struggles and issues in the castle section, or coming into the castle section, as he's missing the tires. So he's going to want to be coming in the pits to get that fixed as fast as he can, as teammate Wilco on fresh tires. After his pit stop, that may actually put Wilco ahead of him at second.
Yeah, so very interesting decision there. Bruiser goes on to a fresh set of sauce. I believe, yeah, Gianni onto a set of mediums. Harold actually came into the pits again for a new set of mediums. And now Howell's out of the race. Oh, he does retire in the pits. So that is one of the Ferraris out now. And I actually will say that Barry actually did overtake Nishka. So Barry is now up into P2, as Bookie currently leads the Grand Prix. I don't know if Bookie's gonna try and go to the end on those mediums. I'm not sure. I believe that he's pitted, or no, he's only pitted once. So I can imagine maybe he's going to stop again, maybe slap on a pair of softs to go to the end and put in qualifying laps, because you can see the absolute sheer pace that now Barry is side by side, and he's going to go ahead and pass. I think that Barry is going to just try and win the race despite the 10-second penalty.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Barry at this point, Barry's got a lot of work to do with 6 laps to go. He's got to absolutely exactly what you were saying. He's pretty much got to drive these mediums like it's sprint. It's SP1 and sprint qualifying. He's got to be absolutely on the limit every corner, every turn. He has not to mess around here. He's got to commit drive away to mitigate that 10-second penalty. At this point, Nick is not trying to let Barry go too
safety
far,
car.
but in the sense,
Dr. J crashed. Dr. J crashed on the front stretch. So that's going to deploy a safety car, and that is going to throw everything out of whack.
Oh my. Now that may actually have helped Bruiser, honestly, because it slowed up the pack, which now brings Bruiser in front of Tenzo, which I'm sure Tenzo on those mediums, he's going to be wanting to attack Bruiser as quick as he can off the safety car restart. And you got to think, we're only going to have maybe about 2 to 3 racing laps left of this race by the time the safety car comes in. So it's going to be kind of interesting to see here, because Bruiser with those softs is probably going to be looking to attack Nika and Barry and possibly win this race on those tires. But and under safety car, he's not taking anything out of him. So I mean, he's got time to kind of scrub them so that those soft tires are pretty much on fire the minute the restart happens.
Yeah, and more than likely for this restart, it's going to be a sprint to the end. I mean, from probably estimating, we would probably go racing going into lap 23 if I want to estimate. I'm curious to see if anyone is going to pit in this lead lap of cars. I mean, they are all on fresh tires, so I can't imagine they will. Barry might just to negate the penalty, but I'm not entirely sure. He is coming down the front stretch, and he actually will go into the pits. So Barry's into the pits, Nishka as well. Bruiser is going to stay out. We'll see if Tenzo pits or stays out. Oh, and Nishka! No! Nishka gets a 10-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. He throws on the softs, but that is gonna really hurt his race. Barry served his penalty, so Barry is clear out. So now Nishka will come back out in P3, but that's just heart-wrenching.
That is what Nishka did not want. That is going to absolutely hurt him, and I'm pretty sure he's probably going to be he's fuming in that cockpit at this point. He's probably kicking himself and honestly trying to wonder how he managed to even let that happen. But I mean, honestly, at this point, it's under safety car. You're trying not to lose too much time to the cars around. You're gonna tend, and especially with kind of like it's kind of like a manga. You kind of come firing in the pit lane pretty fast. So you kind of got to be at the pit entry and speed down quickly, especially around Baku, and then you've got tracks like Silverstone as well, as we saw last year, where Esteban Ocon, or it might have been Pierre Gasly, came in the pit in Baku, and a group of reporters smack dab in the way and didn't realize there was a car coming in for a pit stop. So it was, it could be quite chaotic, honestly. And at this point now, Mr. Guy, at this point, his damage limitation, the best he can honestly hope for and do, is gonna have to be on it and get around Tenzo and Bruiser, clear up in the distance as best he can if he can make that happen. But at this point, he's looking at possibly falling all the way down the grid. Time to restart.
Yeah, and I mean it's gonna be interesting to see how this all plays out, because at this point you don't really have any time to serve the penalty unless you want to pit now and then rejoin the grid. But even then, you're going to be at the back of the grid anyway. So I mean, Nishka's in a really tough spot. Bruiser, I mean, he had a very rough start to this feature race, but now he is up into first place, and actually Governor is going to go ahead and pit again. He pit for the softs, and now he's going to go ahead and pit again. But Bruiser and Tinzo are absolutely in the best position to win this race, and I do think that we were right that I think that the race is going to restart going into lap 23. So it looks like it's going to be a 4-lap sprint to the end. And I don't know. I'm curious to see how this is going to go. I mean, it's going to be a 4-lap just drag race to the end of the race. We did kind of see a drag race happen in Division 1, but I'm curious to see what's going to happen here. If it's going to be anything similar to Div 1 or what.
Honestly, this one is going to be quite an interesting finish here, because this safety car restart could spell disaster, and it could spell us geniusly. And as we saw last week in Canada, off the restart, I mean, it did not very promising for Nishka, and now here it is, he's spot again. So who knows? We could see something interesting of Bruiser take off, Tinzo go for the attack on Bruiser, some commotion and chaos, and Nishka may actually be able to benefit and come through it with the gap that he needs to run away with the race. But again, miracles do happen, and it's possible. So I'm kind of just gonna sit back and see what happens here and how this one plays out.
I apologize. I apologize, Wildcat. I was muted, so that was my fault. I was gonna say that.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my fault.
Me there. I was like, hey, what the heck's going on here?
You're good. That was my fault. But yeah, I'm curious to see how this is gonna go. We haven't seen that great of restarts in this race. I mean, it doesn't look like many people. Usually 10-second penalties are getting handed out everywhere now. But I'm curious to see how Bruiser is going to do, as this will be his first time restarting the grid after a safety car, and I'm right there alongside you. I'm curious to see how this restart is going to go.
Well, it's definitely, I will say this has definitely been quite the race to watch. And I mean, looking at Div 2 compared to Div 1, I mean, we only had 11 drivers finish in Div 1. And with Baku, it seems like Baku as a whole, this track does not play well with a lot of drivers, honestly, as we see a lot of DNF across 2 divisions here today. So it's, I will say, I'm pretty sure all these drivers are probably going to be looking to get some R&R, probably kick back, put their feet up, maybe have a drink, console lick their wounds, and but at the same point, they got a week off before the next race. So, and we've got Austria coming up, which is always a good time, and then followed by Spain. So, and the things get back to normal for those two. So, I mean, drivers have a good week or so, about a 2-week gap and time to rest up and, kind of put Baku in the back of their minds and forget about it and come back for the next couple rounds stronger and, recharged and ready to go.
We will see how it all goes as the safety car is in, and actually Bruiser is going to go ahead and go early. They're rushing to the line. He didn't get a great start as Tenzo is right on his tail. And is he going to go for a move in turn one? He thought about it, but he doesn't as we restart the race. And it looked like both Bruiser and Tenzo got the best launch out of that, or out of the group. Nishka is right on their tail and is trying to catch up. And actually now it looks like Nishka is going to go for a move on Tenzo. He's on the inside. He does pass Kiz. Does Nishka hold on? It looks like he does. So Nishka will move up in a P2 behind Bruiser. And you already know that Nishka, he is absolutely probably pushing as hard as he can to negate that penalty. But we'll see how that all plays out.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean that overtake on Kenzo was a statement of intent. This is looking to catch Bruiser, past Bruiser, and he's looking to try and open that gap as much as he can before the end of this race to try and mitigate how far down the grid he'll fall with that 10-second penalty. But Bruiser is also on soft tires that are 2 laps older than Nishka. So I mean, you kind of gotta wonder, is Nishka gonna be able to attack to get Bruiser to destroy his soft tires a bit more, with knowing that he's right there in the wings. As I'm looking now, Bruiser's been harvesting quite a bit of that battery, so he's ready for the defense at this point.
And actually also just want to point out, the governor has retired from the race. It did not trigger a VSC or a safety car. I believe he crashed in the castle section. So that will end his race, as actually Nishka sets the fastest lap as he's on an absolute tear chasing down Bruiser as we have 2 laps to go. Only 9 drivers have survived so far to the end here. And now I'm really curious to see, I mean, right now with the 10-second penalty, Nishka would, and actually now Nishka to the inside, and he's gonna do it again, the exact same turn, and Nishka is into the lead. So right now, unfortunately with his 10-second penalty though, he would actually fall down into 7th place because of the 10-second penalty. So you already know anything that he can do to negate that, he is 100% going to try and do. I'm curious to see what's going to happen to the end, because you can see Nishka is flying.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, at this point, he's done what he needs to do at this point. He's gotten out front again. He's in clean air. He doesn't have the dirty air to mess with his tires. He just has to honestly just drive flat out as hard as he can, give it everything he can. And honestly, at this point, he's kind of got to hope for Bruiser to make a mistake that maybe kind of Constantina's into Tenzo and Barry. Nothing against them, as the McLaren pair have actually done what they need to do and are looking at possibly finding themselves with a double McLaren podium here today. So it's which is kind of heartbreaking for Nishka, but I mean, he's at the point he's doing everything he can to try and break the toe and get out of range of Bruiser, but Bruiser is right there in his gearbox, not backing off at all.
Yeah, no, absolutely not backing off at all as the last lap starts. And you can see just how much of a gap is being formed. I mean, Bruiser, he's within DRS range right behind Nishka. But Tenzo, you can see, is now 3 seconds behind Bruiser. So, I mean, Bruiser would win on the penalty, but I can definitely imagine that Bruiser wants to win the race on track. And, I mean, this is going to be a great weekend for him. I mean, he won the sprint race, and now he's just about he's 2 sectors away from winning the feature race as well. And I mean, so far, I mean, absolute credit to him. He had the issues in the very beginning of the race and even losing his front wing, but through it all, he's fought and toiled, and he's finally made it back up to the front, and now it looks like he's going to win.
Absolutely. And I mean, I'm sure his team principal is going to be very excited and ecstatic about it. I mean, they're coming through the end of sector 2 now, headed to sector 3. Bruiser's probably just not even going to worry about too much of, I mean, at this point, I mean, me personally, I go for the overtake just to say, yeah, I did it on track. But at the same point, you've got the penalty. So what's the point in, too much sweating and worrying about the fact of, oh, he's ahead of me, because Nick is at the point he's just trying to prove, hey, I was the fastest, I pulled the best strategy, and had the penalty not been there, I would have beat you guys.
Oh,
And as Bruiser does at the line.
and actually side by side, he actually does make it to the line and beats him on track. Nishka will tumble down the order, so it is a McLaren 2-3. And actually, Nishka will end up in 5th, so he actually won't fall down as far. Harold will move up into P4, Nishka P5, Bookie P6, Wilco P7, Gianni P8, and then the Mercedes of Dilby will come home in P9. So actually, credit to Bruiser for winning the race on track. And actually, if you look at the time difference, Tenzo only beat his teammate out by 0.025. So it was a fight the whole way down the grid to the line. And I mean, congratulations to Bruiser. The winner in the sprint race, and then winner in the feature race as well.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, honestly, it was a great ending to the race, honestly. Could you imagine had there not been that penalty, Niska probably would have actually just flat out he might have actually been able to claim that victory. But I think he just kind of just didn't bother at the point, because it was like, hey, I'm on the main straight. We're coming down to the end, and I have this penalty, so why bother fighting what's going to actually, be going to happen anyway? But congrats to the guys on the podium, the McLaren duo, for taking a double podium, and I mean, making solid points for them and their campaign in the Constructors Championship.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely going to benefit not only individually, but that also really helps the Racing Bulls in the Constructors Championship as well. Definitely, I don't think as chaos filled as Division 1, but it definitely had a lot more drama, I think, because of all the different things that had occurred, especially relating to like Nishka and the penalties. And I mean, it was those safety cars. And I mean, Nishka almost pulled off a one stop. Had that other safety car not come out, and he braked for if he didn't go in for softs and the safety car didn't happen, he was right there to be able to get the one stop done. He almost did a one stop at Baku, and you definitely got to give him credit for that. But overall, I mean, just fantastic job. And I mean, if you're Bruiser, you're probably ecstatic, and you probably had an absolutely fantastic. You're probably feeling fantastic, not only after winning the sprint race, but also winning the feature race. And I don't know if we will get Bruiser in here. We will see if we can get actually, we do get Bruiser in here. There he is. So welcome in all three of you, Bruiser, Barry, and Denzo. Bruiser, we'll start with you. First off, congratulations on winning the sprint race and winning the feature race. How are you feeling right now?
Whoa, that was one hell of a ride. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah.
Inside mode. I don't know if you guys saw it on stream, but I ended up hitting the safety car because the safety car went in front of me out of nowhere. So I was in the pit box, I think 4 times within 5 laps.
Yeah.
It was one hell of a race.
I mean, I can imagine how crazy and how frustrating that would be. And I mean, absolutely phenomenal job. I mean, working your way back, and I mean, you even won it on track. You did beat Nishka to the line. I mean, when you have to,
because I didn't know like if that was like a faulty penalty or buggy, so I was like, I have to win both on track and whatever. So I pulled it off.
Yeah, I was gonna say you did pull it off anyway. And I mean, you said it. You had to pit 4 times in 5 laps. I mean, were you frustrated? Like, how did you feel when you had to deal with all that?
I was obviously frustrated, but at the same time, I was like, I know a safety car is coming up, so I was just waiting on that and just taking care of my tires. And I was like, just don't hurt them too much. And it all panned out. So, I mean, I was surprised to even have 2 sets of softs that I was like, because it put me on my soft set, and I was like, this is weird. I was just gonna gamble it, and then I ended up on 2 softs, and I was like, this is just, I don't know, I just got lucky, I guess.
But you still had to, even getting lucky and having those tires, you still had to take those tires the distance. And I mean, we saw in Div 1, the soft tires were just evaporating. So, I mean, definitely. Yeah. So, I mean, definitely fantastic job, and a great job to you to make those softs work and win it down to the line. Before I let you go, if you need to head out or anything, is there anyone that you would like to shout out or give credit to?
No, but whoever says don't give up, yeah, I give it that shout out to them, because I didn't give up. So don't give up. That was one hell of a race.
Well, definitely congratulations on the win, and congratulations for not giving up and pushing through. And congratulations on the race win.
Thank you.
So next up, I believe Tenzo, Tenzo is next. You finished in P2. How are you feeling right now?
Very excited, and I have no words.
So I mean, you pretty much led this race. I mean, you were at least a part of the top 3 for a large majority of the race. I mean, whenever you had to deal with the safety cars, did that really make you frustrated when you had to deal with that?
I mean, I was just really hoping to not get a safety car, because I had like I'm pretty sure it was like a 6-second gap, and I'll just keep increasing it, and then whenever I'll just keep hoping it, and then like 10 seconds after there was a safety car, so that kind of annoyed me. I didn't really know what to do with my strategies, but whenever safety cars came out, but it ended up well, I guess.
Yeah, and it did end up working out all in the end, kind of like what Brewster was saying, that he had a little bit of luck on his side. The one thing I do, the other thing I want to ask is that you beat your teammate by, I think it was 0.025. We caught the very end of it. Did you know that Barry was coming up behind you? Did you see him coming up that close?
I mean, I wasn't really focusing on him. I was just really trying to get to the finish line before him. So, if that's what you're asking.
Yeah, and I mean, well, he was just very close. I mean, it was a drag race all the way to the end, and we saw that in Division 1 as well. We saw drag races up and down the grid, down to the wire. But still, absolutely congratulations, not only for you, but for your team as well. I mean, getting second and third for team, I mean, you can't really do much better than that other than getting first and second. So, I mean, definitely congratulations to you. Before I let you go and I ask your teammate, is there anyone that you would like to shout out or give credit to?
I'd to give credit to Barry and to Illyrium.
Well, just so you know, that Illyrian has been in the chat and he's been very supportive of Division 2, so he's probably very happy to hear that from you. And I'll let you go if you need to go, but congratulations on the second place.
Thank you.
And last but certainly not least, Barry, how are you feeling right now?
It's bittersweet, man. I'm glad finally on the podium. I was really frustrated after Canada last week. I think I threw that away with some really sloppy driving once my tyre wear kicked in. I think this is, I'm happy to be on the podium, but it feels like a win-loss. The 10-second penalty for me cutting the pit exit line was just complete lapse of concentration. I would have come out ahead of Nishka, and I was the fastest driver on track today. So yeah, happy for a double McLaren. Tinzo's been brilliant the last couple of weeks. So yeah, good for the team, but yeah, definitely, definitely a bit bittersweet.
Yeah, I can imagine that it's a little bittersweet whenever something like that happens. Did you, and I guess I have to ask, because I definitely agree that like you, Nishka, Tenzo, Bruiser were the fastest drivers on track. Did you also get somewhat frustrated when the safety cars kept coming out and kept gathering everyone back together?
You know what? Actually, not. I was actually quite happy. I got wing damage really early on, so I was kind of forced to pit earlier. I tried to stay out at first and just claim a couple of positions, but actually the last safety car worked perfectly because I was just able to get rid of that 10-second penalty. I can't tell you how relieved I was to see that Nishka got his of rushing through the pit lane, but I also thought he must be devastated. So no, I actually think the safety cars helped me recover my race. Yeah, it's just a shame. Just shame I had that initial 10 seconds. Otherwise, yeah, it could have been a win today.
Yeah, definitely a shame. I mean, you never really want to see any drivers get penalties like that. But I definitely think that you did a great job of recovering from that. And I mean, you still finished on the podium. I mean, that is definitely, as you said, you want to win, but definitely still a great result for you and for McLaren. And last but not least, before I let you go, is there anyone that you would like to shout out or give credit to?
Yeah, definitely Tinzo. It's been really good having a teammate so far that's competing for really high points. It's definitely makes it a lot easier when you're trying to push for a constructor. So yeah, big shout out to Tinzo, and also for Illyrian because I know he's been helping Tinzo out. I've not been able to jump in VCs and things when I race. So yeah, Illyrian's been great second supporter for him. So yeah, big shout out to both of them.
Yeah, and I mean, you've definitely heard me tell Tenzo that Illyrian has been very supportive, and he's been in the chat watching you guys race in Division 2, so he's probably definitely happy to hear that. But that is, sorry if you're going to say something, Barry.
No, that's it. Amazing. Yeah, thanks, guys.
But that is going to wrap it up here for Division 2, and that's going to wrap it up total for North America, Europe here in Baku. I hope that everyone had an amazing time. We appreciate all of the love and support that you guys show us. And actually, just as a quick announcement, Rush Racing North America and Europe has actually crossed 100 followers here on Twitch. So we just want to say massive thank you to everyone who has followed and shown their support for this league. We absolutely love you guys. We are so thankful for all of your love and support. And last but not least, we want to thank our sponsors, Sim Racing Center, Sim Lab, Pagny and Simulation Experts, and AI 369. We hope to see you here in 2 weeks for the next round here of North America and EU. We hope that you guys all have a great day, a great night, wherever you guys are in the world, and we will hopefully see you for another exciting race.